Jaya Gora Hare. Welcome to another episode of TwoMuchWise.
This is the warm-up to the Bhagavad Gita series where we discuss and introduce some concepts of the Bhagavad Gita.
All that we speak is what we have learned from spiritualists and perfected teachers from the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Nothing that we say is of our own.
We have another series which is called the Gita Expedition series. It is a more detailed discussion on it where we explore the Gita verse by verse, chapter by chapter.
This episode is better heard than seen. So feel free to hear it while walking, while cooking, while driving, or even while working out.
We've had a lot of fun recording these sessions, and we hope that you too have a good experience hearing these, watching these. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I was just thinking today कि गीता के I'm thinking of myself as a student of the Gita. So how long has it been? Uh, I've been studying the Gita. So we started doing it in 2000 and officially at least in 2015. So it's almost 8 years. 8 years, right? 8 years now. 8 years since I've been studying the Gita. For you, I think it's more. We'll talk about that. But since 2015 we've seen many things come up, and people are talking about the Gita more and more and more, at least in the social media circles, in our age circles, in our demography circles, in our spheres. So we just thought it'll be nice we talk about why we personally like to study Gita, what do we like about it, and our likes and fancies in terms of the Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada. So yeah, we can start now, Prabhu.
Yeah, this is the Gita.
Starting with you.
You
Yeah,
have it
starting
with
with you.
you?
I have it with me.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Different
Yeah.
cover but same content.
Yes, different cover, same content. Oh, this is reflecting.
Actually, I just got reminded of this. This one funny thing that happened. I don't know if I've told you before. So in office, when I used to go to office, like now I work from home, but when I used to go to office, on my office desk, I used to have all my little books. We have those small tiny books, and I used to have Bhagavad Gita over there. And then there was one of my neighbors in office. We used to have huge desks, huh? So I had,
Yeah.
and then it was like we used to sit in a sort of a circle. So you had many neighbors. So one day, one of
Okay.
the neighbors came to me very seriously, and he's like, "You should not keep the Gita on your desk."
Hmm.
And I said, "Why?" He said, "Do you realize we all have been fighting so much? There's been so much chaos." I was in sales, so sales is like a lot of passion, a lot of chaos. And
Hmm.
like, so, and he said, Bhagavad Gita was spoken during Mahabharata.
Yeah.
And this Bhagavad Gita symbolizes Mahabharata. And
Yeah.
my elders have always told me you should not keep the Bhagavad Gita at home.
Yeah.
So, I'm just recalling because you said there's social media, there's so much buzz, but like everybody's saying everything about Bhagavad Gita.
We hear this in the sometimes during book distribution also, that nahi nahi हमने तो सुना है that keeping this will introduce conflict at home or something like that, or even in fact they talk about the Mahabharat like that. So and they extend it to the Gita, that if you have the Mahabharat at home, you'll have Mahabharat at home. Yeah, so that is the connotation that they have, which is interesting, because the message that the Gita has, um, I mean, just if you think, if you keep the Gita on the desk, if you believe that it'll introduce conflict, I mean, the opposite of that can also be true. That if you keep the message of it in the heart, maybe the conflicts will resolve itself also. But yeah, that thought doesn't come as easily as the other one.
Yeah, and also we keep the Gita, we hardly read the Gita. So
Yeah, we don't. Yeah,
anyway,
hardly. Yes.
so I was thinking, before we came into and we in this podcast, I was just trying to be very honest with myself and think, okay, what has Gita really given me?
Hmm.
And the top thoughts that came to my mind were all related to clarity.
mm,
That it's just given me so much clarity in life. And then I started sort of breaking it down. Okay. And then I could break it down into three parts. Okay. That's how I think. Okay? I like breaking down, you know that. So I could break it down into three parts. The first part was that Bhagavad Gita gives you clarity of existence. Okay.
mm.
Second, it gives you clarity of purpose. And
Mm.
third, it gives you clarity of action. It gives you or not, I don't know, but it definitely gave me, and it's given this clarity to many around me who
So you
study
said
along with me.
existence,
Purpose,
purpose, and action.
action. I'll tell you how. So first is existence. Yeah? You say this a lot. I've heard you say this a lot, that we came and we hit the ground running. You know, we took
Mm.
birth. Bachpan mein, we were given a bat and ball. Like I was given a bat and ball, play with it. Then I had some toy cars. I had nice blue jeans. My sister had nice pink skirts. Then we went to school, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Grew up, A square plus B square plus 2AB is equal to A
Yeah.
plus B whole square. Pythagoras theorem. What do you want to be? In India, it's of course the old stale joke, engineer, doctor, lawyer. All of this was going on. And we never paused.
Mm.
And then when I read the Bhagavad Gita, it was staring at me, screaming, shouting, bro, what are you doing here? Like, just
Mm.
pause. What are you doing here? Like, why are you existing? Your mother, your father, why are they your mother, your father?
Yeah.
Is this guy on the street? Why are you not born in that family?
Yeah.
It actually brings in existential crisis. so
Yeah.
so that way it gives you a lot of clarity of why you exist, what is the reason
Shakes
of your
things up,
it
actually.
does. It pauses your life and just makes you think, ek second ruko, just wait, hang on, what's happening, what are all these things around you, why are you living in this home, why are you not living in a smaller home, why don't you have a bungalow? it's it's just questioning your entire existence. So
Mm.
with questioning, it gives you clarity. After this, once you get clarity of existence, that okay, why am I who I am, why am I born in a particular setup, why do I have what I have, after that it tells you what do you have to do with this existence.
Yeah.
Okay, which is the clarity of purpose. So first it tells you, okay, why do you exist? Then it tells you, okay, what do you have to do with your existence? And
Yeah.
the best part is that all of us, actually the Bhagavad Gita says that all of us have the same purpose.
Mm.
So it's not like my purpose is different from your purpose and your purpose. It says all of us have the same purpose. The super bit about this
Same
is,
purpose, but different paths. That's what it says,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, same purpose, different paths. But the
Yeah.
same purpose unites us in purpose, which is
Yeah.
really good. Which is, if you have the same purpose, then true brotherhood exists, right? Like army
Yeah.
or the defense forces thrive on this. The purpose is so strong, and all of
Yeah.
them share the same purpose, so it's brotherhood. So essentially, the Bhagavad Gita gives the same purpose to all the souls. So
Yeah.
so that way, i- it's the real way to brotherhood, right?
Mm.
So clarity of existence. Why am I here? What is all of this? What is this world? What am I doing here? Why am I learning ABCD? What do first that is there first that is given by Bhagavad Gita, clarity of existence, and then it tells you, okay, now what next? Okay, but it doesn't
Yeah.
stop there. It doesn't stop at clarity of purpose, because it'll stop there. It'll all be very wishy-washy. It'll all be very lofty. It'll be high
Mm.
up in the air.
Yeah.
It becomes even better by going into a lot of details, by giving you clarity of action.
Right.
Details of, okay, if you have to achieve this purpose to fulfill the reason of your existence, then what sort of food should you eat? Like, what sort of actions should you do? How can
Yeah.
you how can you make your daily life richer? By food,
Mm.
by actions, by words. It gives you details of these small things. So
Yeah.
so right from a broad overview of why I exist to the tiniest detail of what sort of food will help me achieve my purpose. It gives you
Yeah.
clarity across the spectrum. So this is what I love.
You took.
This life is so simple now. It's just fully
Yeah.
clear. Everything is clear.
Clear. Yeah.
So that's that
Yeah.
that honestly, that was like my reason of why I love the Bhagavad Gita.
Like you took the example of the ABCD, Pythagoras theorem, and this and that we do from the beginning of our lives. So what just to extend that example from what you said, it basically tells you, okay, out of these 100 things that I'm doing, which are the ones that are really important, that actually do matter, and which are the ones which I can actually forego to make space for the ones that matter. That is the first part. The second part is the ones that have retained, the things that I have retained. What is the purpose of those things? मैं ABCD learn कर रहा हूँ, तो why am I doing that?
Yeah.
It doesn't say that
Leave
why are you doing
ABCD.
this, leave it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not why are you doing this, leave it. That's not the why that it's asking or telling you. It's basically like, okay, do these things because you want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is the reason why you would want to do this. You want to earn money, great, but why? That is the answer that it's providing, that is the plug that it's giving. That is the purpose part. And then to do that, what you need to do, like how do you need, what all actions do you have to do, at what time, at what pace, at what circumstance, in what way, in what consciousness, with what intention. That is the whole, basically it gives you the whole spectrum, as you said, what to do, why to do, and how
How
to
to
do
do.
it,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I like what
Yeah.
you said about the earning money bit, because we're all earning, right? We're running to earn, we're running to have a comfortable life,
Yeah.
we're running for to enjoy. Yeah. But we don't question why.
Mm.
As in, okay, I'm earning, why? Okay, I will enjoy with it. Why do I like enjoyment? Even that is answered. Like, it
Yeah.
really goes into details. uh, in in again, in the corporate circles, they say that if you really wanted to find solutions to problems, you have to ask 5 to 7
RCA.
whys. Why?
You have to
Yeah,
do an RCA.
yeah. For that RC, you have to
Yeah.
ask whys. Bhagavad
Yeah.
Gita throws all the whys. You may stop
Yeah.
at the third why of life, but Bhagavad Gita tells you,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Here's the fourth why. Here's the fifth why.
There's a deeper level. Yeah. There's
So
a deeper level.
that way, it's really beautiful. If you want to actually make your life purposeful,
Mm.
then this is the book. And you don't really change. You don't change your life. You don't change what you're doing. You keep doing that, but it's,
You mold it, you don't change it,
yeah,
you
you
mold
mold
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the underlying reasons to why you're doing what you're doing, that changes. So that
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
it gets molded. You tell you.
For us it doesn't even change because we I mean, honestly speaking, we don't know why we're doing most things. It
Yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah.
doesn't change
It,
any
it
purpose for
gets
us. It
added.
basically gives us.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
gives us a purpose.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We've yeah. And that's a nice way to put it. It doesn't change because we don't have a why only. It
Have a
gives.
purpose. Yeah.
Okay, you tell me.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Like, how, why does Bhagavad Gita, why has it resonated with you for so long?
So when I started studying the Gita, so I didn't study it by myself. Like, just picked up the book. I didn't start reading it. I knew about it. Obviously, I've heard about it. Being a Hindu, South Indian, all of that, I've heard about it. I know Krishna. I know Arjuna. I know Mahabharata. All of that. I have the context. I have the context of Karm Karo, Phal ki Chinta Mat Karo, and I've seen B.R. Chopra, and in from the beginning, in the intro of B.R. Chopra, we hear the shlokas and the
मैं
iconic
समय हूँ.
announcement. Yeah, all of that. We've heard all of that. We've seen. So I had that context, but I didn't have the real context. So once I came in touch with other students of the Gita who had been studying this for many years, and now they were teaching it, having practiced it, I started hearing them. I didn't know they were teaching the Gita, by the way, when they started. When I was just hearing them, I was like, oh, they're telling something about life. Let's go hear them. And when I started hearing them, I'm like, this sounds amazing. This sounds incredible. This is out of this world. Um, this is so clear. It makes things so clear, as you said, clarity, right? It makes things so clear. And then I realized, and then I was like, okay, but where are these guys getting it from? And that's when I realized they're getting from the Gita. They quote their source as the Gita, and that's when I formally started studying the Gita in a structured way from these teachers. And that blew my mind really, because as you said, clarity, so much clarity was never there. It was never abstract, it was to the point, it was uh, concise, and it was clear and simple. Right, it basically said, it set the tone for the truth, and the truth as in the simple truth. There's no big, big words there, there are no abstract terms, there's no jargon thrown around. It talks about who you are, what is it that you're doing, etc. The basically the what, the why, and the how. And that's something I really liked, because I like that structured approach to anything, and if it gave structured approach to how to live life. So that's something that really struck with me. And yeah, it gave me the reasoning behind, we have a culture, we have a Vedic culture that we see remnants of even today in Indian way of living, in Indian households, and how parents teach some things to you. You see that Vedic culture there, right? Remnants of it. Um, that was like a veneer that was there, like a outer one layer that was there, and that was given to me. I liked it. Honestly, I liked it. I was like, this is, I connect with it. Indian culture, it's all great. But when it came to actually living, there was a disconnect. That layer of Vedic culture and how I used to live had no connection in reality. What the Gita gave me was that is layer ke piche there is a reasoning also, and that reasoning is the connect, is the interface between how you live life and how this culture exists. So that was a very big um, pull for me. It was like a hook, line, and sinker for me,
Mm.
from the Gita. Yeah.
So so what, so you also said clarity, and then the other thing
Mm.
you said was that there was this Vedic remnants of Vedic life, that you were living with, but
Yeah.
you didn't really know what it was, and then suddenly the Gita brought it all together. It's the
Yes.
Vedic remnants made sense now.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It made sense. And now I had like an interface to live that culture,
Hmm.
basically.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, when you were talking about clarity, when you were speaking about clarity, I also I felt like without this clarity that Gita has given us, life is was so meaningless.
Yeah.
But it this clarity gave meaning and purpose, and that's why we know it was meaningless.
But you know what the interesting part is? We didn't know it was meaningless.
Exactly.
We didn't even know it was
Exactly. That's what I'm
meaningless. Yeah.
saying. After we understood, oh, this is the meaning and purpose of life, we came to
Yeah.
realize it was meaningless.
Yeah.
At that
Yeah.
time, we felt it's fine, everything is good. It's in
In fact, we
retrospect.
felt we were doing the right thing. Ki,
Yeah.
what every the hit the ground running part is what you said, that one, when we are running, when we see, when we know life only that way, that we started life like that, running, and running in what direction? In the direction that everybody is
Hmm.
running in, because
Hmm.
we think that's where we have to go, because that's how we started. That's the that's the only way we know how to live, how to exist. We've never had the option of exploring the other way. That's why we never realized, oh wait, listen, what am I running for? Which direction am I running? What will I get out of this? So that question never arose. And yeah, the Gita basically wakes you up and says, hey, listen, there's another option.
Hmm.
You can look around, there is another option.
Hmm. Okay. So there is clarity,
Mm.
there is a nice interface and bridge
Yeah.
to everyday living and Vedic culture.
Yeah.
What else? You'll go for it, or I'll share what I
Yeah.
have in my head. You go
No,
for
you
it.
can share.
Okay, I'll share. Okay.
Yeah.
So another thing that I really appreciate about the book, there are so many things, but like what comes to the top of my head is that the wisdom and knowledge here is really timeless. Okay. And I don't mean timeless in the sense of ancient. That is also true. As in Gita was spoken 5,000 years back. It's still relevant. It will be relevant. Uh, but I mean timeless in terms of the time frame of a person's life. Okay.
Yeah.
We, I'll try to explain this. We all basically have certain principles or value systems according to which we make decisions and we live. We don't state it. It's not like I'll tell you, प्रभु मैं ये मेरे 6 प्रिंसिपल है इन पे मैं जीता हूँ. We don't state it, but
Mm.
subconsciously they're there, right?
Yeah,
And these principles change over time with
because they're
circumstances, time.
mostly based on it's based on hearsay. It's based on our surroundings
Yeah,
and people we are.
yeah. Mostly based on hearsay. And for those who are more introspective, a bit of their nature also comes in.
Mm.
And from hearsay, I'm actually reminded of something. When I was in college, I'm from Delhi. I graduated from Delhi University, and in Delhi University, there is Delhi University is very comparative, right? And there are a lot of things you do. So I was also into a lot of things: theater, entrepreneurship, and I wanted to be like the best, the jack of all trades.
Yeah.
So then, this one day, this senior of mine came up to me and he said, "If you want to do well here, you remember one thing, okay? Here say." He told me, "Remember this. जब
Mm.
अपना काम है बनता, तो भाड़ में जाए जनता."
Okay, good philosophy.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I heard it and I was like, this is life changing.
Huh.
I took it to my heart. I lived with it for maybe the next half a decade and I bloody hell succeeded. Okay.
Mm.
It was like, मेरा काम बनना चाहिए. It doesn't matter at
Mm.
what cost. So that was the
Mm.
principle of my life. Then
I think that's the
eventually,
principle of Delhi.
maybe, maybe.
Yeah.
then then I went on and I got a job, nice job, and I became I was in a leadership role, and that too in sales, where you have to lead really big teams, large teams.
Mm.
And here I realized that this doesn't work because you have to get
Mm.
work done out of people, okay?
Mm.
And to do that, you have to give them love, you have to give them care,
Relationship.
yeah. And then suddenly someone senior, a senior sales leader who had been in this game for long, came and told me, it's funny, okay? He said,
Second hearsay.
huh?
This is second hearsay.
Yeah, second year.
Hearsay number two.
Here's a number two. He
Yeah.
came to me and he said, देख भाई, जब जनता है खुश, तभी तू बनेगा जॉर्ज बुश. Okay, like he wanted to say,
Okay.
like, if you really want to be the leader, then your janta has to be
People
खुश.
believe. Yeah.
And I was immediately reminded of what that guy told me in college. And I
Yeah.
had to undergo a change of subconscious principles. Okay.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I tried to become another person, started becoming caring, taking care of their families, taking care of how they're
Mm.
feeling at work, etc. And this is so confounding and confusing, and this journey is very painful to change the principles you live with. It's very easy to
Mm.
say here, but you go through a
Yeah.
lot of pain when these value systems have to change.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's where this Bhagavad Gita is so beautiful, because that wisdom stays with you throughout your life and beyond. Doesn't depend on the circumstances, doesn't depend on the time, doesn't depend on the situation. These principles will hold you good forever,
Yeah.
and they give you that anchor, they give you that foundation. Everything in my life will change, but
Yeah.
if I live by these principles, if I'm anchored to these principles, I'll meet the purpose, and I'll meet the purpose blissfully, happily. I'll
Yeah.
enjoy no matter what set of problems are there, what struggles are
Yeah.
there, I'll enjoy them. So that way, the timeless knowledge, the timeless wisdom is what I really appreciate. Yeah, that's for me. I've said a lot. I'll
Yeah.
just pause here.
Before getting the Gita, or before learning it from the teachers, I always had this perception कि what is the Gita? It's basically 10. It's 10 commandments जैसे होते हैं कि instruction 1, instruction 2,
Mm,
instruction
mm,
3.
mm.
गीता में ये बोला है, गीता में ये बोला है, गीता में ये बोला है, ये करो, ये करो, ये करो. So like I always thought of it like that, but it's actually not. And it's basically a conversation, and with like in any conversation, the personalities matter. The traits of the person who's speaking, the mindset of the person who's speaking, that matters. वो कौन बताएगा? who'll reveal that? How will you know that from? It's basically like trying to understand a very intimate conversation between two personalities saying something very powerful through just a transcript. Just a transcript से आप नहीं समझ पाओगे. You need someone to translate it and basically convey the essence of it, and that is what the teachers do, and that is why I love the Bhagavad Gita as it is. There are many other Gitas out there, some, and I've seen this, that it can be one of either. That one, some of it basically will be like they'll be true to the text. Sanskrit will be there, exact translation will be there, but I will not be able to exact the practical aspect of it, that how do I apply this in my life. And the second part of the spectrum is some people have made it so simplistic, they've actually made it more about symbolism,
Yeah.
right? It is about symbolism, like the five Pandavas, they five horses and 18 days, and
That,
the
that'll be
two
so,
armies.
that's so painful to Krishna and Arjun, right? Like, what is the
Yeah, like
meaning
I'm
that you're
like,
saying?
that's not what you're saying, and that's not what the message is. And this is not a poetry class where you get more marks for more interpretation, more artistic or creative interpretation. More creative your interpretation, more marks that you get. That's what
Yeah,
used to
in
happen
school. Yeah, yeah. In
in school,
tenth
English
class. Yeah.
literature, poetry mein, that's what. But what Robert Frost actually meant, who knows? How do
Mm.
you care? Nobody cares. You're just trying to speculate, and the more artistic and creative your speculation is, the more marks that you get, which is great because that's literature, right? That's an art. But this is not art, this is science. In science you don't speculate.
Yeah.
In maths
Yeah.
you don't see 2 plus 2 ka matlab, it can be 5 also, it can be 6 also, it can be, no, it is 4. It is 4. There is one, and this is a science. You cannot speculate here, right? And that is what I loved about the Bhagavad Gita as it is, that it brings in the simplicity part also, that I can understand it while retaining 100% of the essence. And why I'm so confident of it, I when I started studying it, I didn't realize it. But as I studied more and more, and I got to know about the compiler, which is Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON's
Mhm.
founder,
His book
Acharya,
is here.
is because, yeah, yeah, he's here behind also. I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see it.
Yep.
Yeah. So why I was so confident was because when I learned about his life, I saw that this is not a scholar, like not just a mere scholar, right? He is a scholar also. But for the Gita, you need to understand it, practice it, and perfect it in your life before you can teach it. And that's what he did. He lived the Gita as it is, and he showed it to us by living it, by his true example, that it is a practical thing to do. That's what he did in his life. So I was very confident that I'm learning from a real master here.
Mm.
I'm not learning from an academician. I'm not learning it from a poet. I'm not learning it from a politician. I'm not learning it from a president of India. I'm not learning it from any of these people, or mythologist, whatever you want to be. Because these are not people who I'm going to learn spirituality from. I'm going to learn spirituality from a spiritualist, a true
Yeah.
spiritualist,
Who's
right?
practicing it?
Um,
Like, who's living
who's
Bhagita?
practicing, who's perfected it,
Yeah.
in fact, right? That is why I was so happy doing this. And one of my favorite books ever, I'm sure, for this life, for sure, that one of my favorite books. The way it's structured also, it's so nice. Like when you're distributing the Gita also, you show them, see, like there's the Sanskrit here, then there is the basically the Sanskrit in
English.
English script, in
Mm.
the Latin script, and then there is word for word, and then there is the translation, and then there's the purport. So he has that flair. Prabhupada has this flair of teaching, like he knows how to teach also. But because his heart is that of a spiritualist, it's just such a nice symphony. It's not a cacophony, it's not shore, it's not noise, but in fact it's such a symphony that it just comes together nicely, that he has the heart of a spiritualist and the way of a real teacher. And that is the reason why it basically came in so nicely.
So, so basically, the the one who's done the commentary on this Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah,
she's a spiritualist. So, right profession. You're not learning from a
yeah,
mathematics teacher. You're not learning Bhagavad Gita
yeah,
from an artist. So, spiritualist,
yeah,
number one. Number two,
right,
uh, he's a great teacher because
yeah,
he knows how to bring it all together, the symphony. And
yeah,
thirdly, he's perfected his life with Bhagavad Gita. So he's a
Yeah.
perfect. So that's a really strong personality to learn from.
And it's a joy I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but just a joy to learn from him.
Mm.
Like you don't have to do your own research,
Yeah,
you just,
yeah,
it's such a joy because it makes sense.
yeah.
And it's not just theory, because he himself has, if you read something you like, this sounds a little far-fetched, and then you study Srila Prabhupada's life, and then you're like, oh my god,
He
this is
did it.
exactly what he was talking
Yeah, so
about.
it's not far
And
fetched
he did it,
anymore. Yeah,
and he's living it, very effortlessly, very naturally he's living
yeah,
it. Then you're like, okay, if he's doing it, there must be a way to do it.
yeah,
Let's see what he
yeah,
says about that.
yeah,
And that's what inspires you to
yeah,
really learn,
yeah.
right?
And and
um
and now, in
yeah,
addition to Prabhupada, there are so many of his students
yeah,
who are distributing this Bhagavad Gita, teaching this Bhagavad Gita, and you can see them in person live again. Like
yeah,
Prabhupada is not around, but his students who
yeah,
have learned from him, they're living it,
yeah,
and it's so blissful to see them because they're the
yeah,
same.
just
They're the same, right?
yeah, if you're just around them, you'll know that
Mm.
okay, yeah, this person's living it also. So
Yeah.
i- this continues to inspire and learn basically, and try and live it yourself.
Hmm.
Builds that faith.
Yeah. I think in the last 10 minutes or so, you've really pointed to another important caveat, Bhagavad Gita, which is you don't study it without a teacher. Like, don't,
You can't.
yeah, it's a, don't try it at
Someone
home.
came to me
Try it
recently
try it with a teacher.
yeah, recently someone came up to me and someone said that I want to learn Sanskrit. Yeah, and because I want, why do I want to learn Sanskrit, is because I want to read the Gita without any translations or purports to it. I'm like, but why? Even if you think of it originally, that how it was learned, how scriptures are learned originally, people who were closer to the language. For example, we've lost Sanskrit as a language right now. We've lost it. I
Mhm,
mean, it's
mhm,
there in text, but nobody
mm,
speaks it, right?
mhm, mhm.
Very, like the minority, not even
Yeah,
minority,
yeah.
just like
You can
handful of
count them
people.
on your fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, you can count them, so right, like you know the places exact. There's like one village
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
India where
There's
they're
just
speaking,
viral on
or
YouTube.
you know
That
exact
one.
places. Like, yeah, you don't say that about general languages which are actually alive. So we've lost that language in essence. But when you see that when the language is actually alive, even at that time when people were speaking this language, understanding it, even at that time nobody was studying it by themselves. Even then, the original way to learn any scripture it was that you go to a guru, you go to a teacher who's learned it, who's practiced it, who's perfected it in their lives, and then now is
Yeah,
propagating it, right?
yeah,
You go to such a teacher and learn from them. That was the original way how to actually learn the scripture.
yeah,
And now in this time when it becomes even more harder, a lot more harder to learn the scripture just by Sanskrit, why would you want to do this? Why would you want to try and learn it without a teacher? And it comes to the fact that because we have distrust, we trust ourselves more ki, no, I will make more sense out of it, rather than learning it from someone else, because I don't know if the other person's saying it correctly or not, which is fair actually,
mm,
because there is I mean, you see it all around, we have deceit all around. So I think that is a fair uh, fair thing to have in your head, fair insecurity to have in your head, that I don't trust anybody else. So why can't I just learn the language myself and learn it by the book? But it's not information
yeah. But
actually. That's the,
you can,
yeah,
like,
you can read it for sure. You can
you
read
can
it.
read it.
Yeah.
There's one teacher right there, but if that one teacher is not enough, you need more clarifications, and there is deceit around. If you're sincere and if you go around looking for a honest, sincere teacher without deceit, you'll find one.
Actually, we forget the fact that we forget the fact that Krishna is involved in this whole
Yeah,
equation.
yeah, yeah.
We forget it
You want
because
to
I mean,
you want to go
we'll
close to
we'll talk.
Krishna and Arjun, so you,
Yeah,
like, that they're involved. You'll get there if
yeah,
you really want it. You'll get there.
yeah. Actually, the whole thing is that we forget that this whole conversation is about Krishna Arjun, where Krishna is God, and this is not just any
Mm.
information. So if you're really seeking it, why wouldn't God really direct you in the direction which actually is the correct one? He will. but we forget that we still treat it as a very impersonal, I need this information, but I don't have the teacher who will help me. There's nobody that's going to help me, so I have to help myself. So that is the whole route that we take, while forgetting the fact that the real essence of the Gita comes with a very important aspect of personalism, that Krishna's God and he's a person and he cares for
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
That part we forget, but I think that's a conversation for
yeah,
some other time.
yeah, yeah. You put in, if actually, if one before starting the journey of the Bhagavad Gita, if one just contemplates on the fact that, hey, this is basically something being spoken by God, then that bit of faith guides that person to the right teacher, and
Mm.
that bit of faith makes the entire study of Bhagavad Gita more nourishing, and
Yeah,
and builds more conviction. It doesn't
yeah,
it doesn't remain a book of just philosophy. That, hey, you can try these
no,
principles out. So you
yeah,
start with, okay, this is God. So okay, I'll be guided to the right teacher. Let me try. And then, oh, I
yeah.
found the right teacher. Now I'm studying. This is what God is saying. Okay, I got to this is the truth. This is the holy grail. This is it.
Actually, people have heard this before. They again, but they just don't want to say the last part of it. That it's a live personality. There is a live
Yeah,
person
there's a
involved, right?
person there. Yeah. You don't want
Involved.
to do that.
But they have heard about it. I'll tell you where. You've heard about it so many times, and people really romanticize this fact. They like, great personalities have said it, so we hear it more. They say that whenever I'm in trouble, I just open the Gita at any page, and it gives me answers at that
Mhm,
moment.
mhm.
It's not so you want to make it magical. You want to bring the mystical
Mysticism.
aspect,
Yeah.
in it, but mystical aspects or magic doesn't happen without a magician being involved. There has to be a person involved who's intervening. Nothing is by chance. If it were by chance, then you're basically basing your that means that you're basing your answers on random chance. That's basically what you mean. But I don't think we want to believe that we're doing that. If we believe in such sayings, we in the devotee circles, we don't say such things usually, because only it's not like a eight ball. Have you seen an eight ball? uh, it's there in an American culture, where you basically take an eight ball, ask a question. It's a toy, and you shake it, and then you see it, and then whatever answer comes, it's very vague, abstract
Mm.
answers.
It's
Yes, you
like that
can do it or something.
cookie that you had those
Ha,
cookie
fortune, like
only.
a
Yeah,
fortune
yeah,
cookie.
yeah.
Yeah. So Bhagavad Gita is not a eight ball or a
It's
fortune
fortune
cookie,
cookie
right? That when you have
or a
issues and you
toy.
go and then you pick up and then you contemplate and speculate. No, you have to really live it in everyday life to basically for it to guide you at all situations. But I'm just saying that if we it's easier for us to believe that this can happen. Bhagavad Gita is such a book that it's a mystical book, but it's harder for us to believe that there is a person involved,
Mhm.
which actually is very telling of something
Yeah.
inside. That's very telling.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, you're one of the few who are listening to this. Whatever we'll speak in the future, also, we've we're going to talk from the perspective of Krishna being a person. As in, it's not a perspective. Like, we know there is logic. We'll explain it also
Yeah,
in time to come. But the point is, God is a person, and his name is Krishna. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we've really sort of deviated, but for good. I'm happy we deviated from why Gita to uh, why Gita with a
About the
teacher.
Gita, glories of the Gita. Yeah,
uh, so actually, you need the teacher to glorify the Gita. So it's okay if we deviated, but
yeah,
let's maybe try to wrap up with this is the last thoughts on why Gita. Uh, eh, Anything from your side? You want to take one more thing, like why Gita? Like, why have you been studying it for 8 years?
yeah. Because I think I can fall back on it in a very structured sense. It gives me the anatomy of me, very clearly. It gives
Hmm.
me the anatomy of me, not uh, just on the physical level, not just on the mental level, but even on the spiritual level, that nobody talks about, right? Like if someone has to talk about you. Um, or anything. For example, I've been in an engineering college. It talks about how the mechanics work, how things are built, etc. To know anything and everything, you need to know the components of it and how they really work together. But nobody has ever told me that how I work, how I function, how I as a person, as a sentient being, function, and what makes me me. Nobody has told me this, and that surprised me so much. It shocked me, in fact, that nobody's told me about this. Nobody's introduced me to me. Nobody's talked to me about me, and because of this, we go through so many issues later on in life. But if someone had told me all of this right at the beginning, had made it a part of my education growing up, then it would have helped me a lot to live my life. Now I have to reprogram myself, unlearn so many things that I've learned in most whatever I learned in my formative years. Now it's harder for me to unlearn and basically mold myself again.
Mhm.
But when I'm doing that, it makes me feel good. I know it's the right thing to do. I have that
Mhm.
conviction when I'm doing it.
Mhm.
So that is what the biggest shock was, that nobody's told me this. And you asked me why the Gita. The final point, what excites me the most is that sharing this shock with others, shocking others with the same fact, that listen, something so blatant, so evident, so um, so out there, basically hiding in plain sight. We as human beings, who we really are, we have not been told. And here it is. Here is the answer to that. It's a basic question that needs to be answered first. That needs question needs to come up and then needs to be answered for us to be living actual human lives. For us to be actually living on the plane as a human, we need to know this. We need to know who we are, and nobody's telling us this. And here it is. That is what excites me the most, that it gives us answers to the most important, most um, essential questions, no basic questions that are required to live your life um, as a human being. So yeah, that is what really excites me, to study the Gita and share the Gita to
Mhm.
others.
Jai. Mhm. Okay.
Any final points from you, Prabhu, before we wrap up?
Yeah. I think there's just one more thing which I've always found very mesmerizing. Yeah. Which is that Gita talks about the real long term. Like,
Hmm.
it talks about the real long term in a sense. See, we think about long term usually. The long term for us is, I'm going to make good money, then I'm going to uh, enjoy, and then I'm going to retire with a cigar in my hand. Okay, if you're a non-smoker, then maybe a nice retirement house somewhere in the farms, in the hills, in
Yeah.
Dharamshala. That's the long term. Yeah,
Yeah. A cafe in the hills.
yeah, that's the long term for us. And then suddenly the Bhagavad Gita says no. So
Yeah.
first it tells us that the long term step one is you're going to die. Hmm?
Hmm.
There are some who say, okay, in the long term we are all dead, so why care, YOLO.
Yeah.
But then it tells you long term part two, that when you die, you don't really die, you just move on to
Yeah.
another body.
You won't believe it, Prabhu. When I was coming back from the morning program from the temple today, right outside the walls, this is not a person from the temple. Right outside, there someone had graffitied. You want to know what's beyond death? Give me a missed call. Someone just had graffitied this on a wall. I don't know who it is, but
Guru,
yeah.
it has to be the Gurugram folks. They're very good at it. Like the Gurugram
Okay.
temple folks, they're very good at
Okay.
it. But so it tells you long term as part one, which is death, right? There are some who understand that, and they say in the long term we're all dead, so you live only once, so chill, enjoy. But it tells you no, no,
Hmm.
no, that you are dead is not you. That's the body. You move on to take another body, and then what
Hmm.
after that? Okay, then another body, and then what after that?
Yeah.
Then another body. You're a soul. This is related to what you just said, which is who are we? So
Yeah.
the Bhagavad Gita, when it tells you you're the soul and you move from one body to another body to another body, it's a very simple thing that it's stated, but it's really talking about the real long term. Like you're just
Yeah.
going to move on and on and on. It's the long term is not going to be a cafe in the hills. It's not going to be your retirement house. It's not going to be a cigar on your between your fingers. It's going to be another body and then another body
Yeah.
and then another body. And then when you know, oh, this is the long term, then you start questioning, okay, so I've got to change my vision. I've got to recalibrate everything I'm doing,
Yeah.
because everything I was doing was based on the long term of my retirement house of the cafe
Long
in the
term of the
hills.
short term.
Yeah, it was based on the short term, long term of the short
Yeah.
term. But now I know the long term, and so I
Yeah.
have to really change my life. So
Yeah,
I
it's
really like
basically
that part.
it's it's basically like an SIP person trying to put some sense into you, saying that, hey, listen, don't spend it out, like don't blow your money on weekend to weekend. Invest it so that you can secure your future and live a better life. It's basically that in a very large, higher level sense.
Yeah,
That is trying to put some intelligence into you for your own
good.
good.
Yeah,
It's not saying, it's not a sad thing that is trying to remind you that you're going to die, so don't do this. This is not, become more vairagi or anything like that. No, it's saying you plan for the future, you secure your future, but you secure it for the
yeah,
longer future,
yeah.
like the real future. That's what you
it,
secure it
it, it
for.
balances your short term and long term. So the
Yeah,
retirement
and
house is the short term, really. You do for that,
right.
but prepare for your
Yeah,
long term
but there's
also.
something beyond that as
Yeah,
well. Do something
yeah,
for that as well.
yeah, yeah. So you can have a cafe
Yeah.
in the hills. We're not saying don't have a cafe in the
Yeah.
hills, but you got to think
Yeah.
about what after you have to leave
After that, yeah,
the
what's after that?
hills,
Yeah.
because you have to leave your body. What after that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good note to end
Yeah.
on. That cafe in the
Yeah.
hills, and then
Yeah.
another cafe for somewhere next body.
Yeah. I think this, I like this conversation, Prabhu, because it made me think again about all the things that I like about the Gita. It's something that I want to live my life by. I'm trying to do that right now, baby steps here and there, and whatever I have tried to do, it's given me great results, and I want to go through with it fully and really perfect it in that sense, because this is something I feel is so important, is so important. Everything else in life, we've already been taught how to make money, how to raise a family, how to whatever, how to keep a body fit, how to apply am pm routine for your skin. All of that we have information about, but this information nobody is given, and with this information all of the other things really get enhanced. My relationships get enhanced, my work gets enhanced, my work ethic in fact gets enhanced. Why I want to make money gets fulfilled, gives me a purpose. Everything basically becomes 10x or 100x or whatever is in trend. Ajkal we have these 10x things. Everything becomes whatever, enhanced in that regard, and becomes richer, fuller, deeper. And yeah, I like it that we've got this path, that we've received this book, and there have been teachers kind enough to teach it to us and not cheat us with it. And yeah, I'd like that we had this conversation. It was a good one. Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap up with that. Thank you,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you, bro.
Jaya Gaura